Have you ever stared into the pitch-black ocean and wondered if a rogue wave could flip your massive cruise ship completely upside down? Or if the crew is secretly hiding bodies right next to the midnight buffet? Pack your paranoia because we're exposing the 49 most terrifying cruise ship myths that actively panic passengers and drive the staff absolutely crazy. Before we dive into the deep end, drop an anchor on that subscribe button, smash the like, and comment your biggest ocean fear down below. Because the absolute truth about myth number 17 is going to make you seasick. 1. The iceberg slicer will rip a modern cruise ship open like a soda can the second it sees a chunk of floating ice. That dramatic Titanic movie scene lives rent-free in everyone's brain, and suddenly, every cloudy patch in the ocean becomes a frozen assassin. In reality, modern megaships are built with double-layered steel hulls, reinforced bulkheads, and thermal radar systems that detect ice miles away long before passengers finish their buffet run. These vessels are engineered with compartmentalization, so even in the wildly unlikely event of damage, they stay afloat. The only thing getting sliced on board is late-night pizza, not the ship itself. 2. The purge, lawlessness. Myth says once a cruise ship hits international waters, it becomes a floating, no-rules-free for all, where crime magically disappears into the sea. Some passengers genuinely think it is lawless ocean anarchy with a buffet. In reality, every cruise ship sails under the laws of its registered flag country, and serious crimes trigger immediate investigations involving international authorities and often the FBI. There are cameras everywhere and security teams trained like hotel professionals, not pirates. International waters do not mean vacation from consequences. They mean you still follow laws, just with better ocean views and unlimited soft serve. 3. The ice cream equals dead bodies myth says if the soft serve machine is suddenly free, it means the ship's morgue is full, and they need freezer space, which sounds like something invented at 3 in the morning on TikTok. Passengers start side-eyeing their vanilla swirl like it comes with a side of doom. In reality, maritime health codes are brutally strict, and food storage is completely separate from medical facilities with zero crossover allowed. Cruise lines give away ice cream because sugar makes people happy, and happy people book another cruise. The only thing frozen near that machine is your brain after believing that rumor. 4. The accidental trip. Overboard fear convinces people that one clumsy shuffle near the railing, and they are performing an Olympic dive into the Atlantic. And some imagine a sudden gust of wind casually launching them into the horizon like a beach ball. In reality, cruise ship railings are engineered at chest height and designed with inward angles specifically to prevent accidental falls. You would have to actively climb or lean far beyond normal behavior to go over. Ships also have surveillance and sensors monitoring outer decks. Falling overboard is not a casual oops moment. It requires extremely reckless choices, not bad luck. 5. The vacuum toilet. Disembowelment legend claims that flushing while seated will create such violent suction, it rearranges your internal organs and sends them on a one-way trip to the engine room. The terrifying roar of the flush does not help calm imaginations. In reality, those toilets use controlled vacuum pressure that cannot break the natural seal of the human body. The dramatic sound is about air movement, not organ theft. Engineers designed the system to move waste efficiently through narrow pipes, not to launch passengers into plumbing folklore. It is loud and aggressive sounding, but your intestines are not on the departure manifest. 6. The coffin sleeping quarters rumor paints the crew as living in stacked metal tubes like human cargo stored below deck. Some passengers imagine workers sliding into wall compartments at night like sci-fi astronauts on a budget. In reality, crew members stay in compact dorm-style cabins with actual beds, storage space, private bathrooms, and even televisions depending on rank. Are they luxury suites with balcony views? No. But they are functional living spaces designed for long contracts at sea. The crew works hard, but they are not sleeping vertically in lockers waiting to be pulled out for morning shift. 7. The Bermuda Triangle vortex myth insists that once a cruise ship crosses that invisible ocean triangle, the compasses spin wildly, electronics die, and the vessel vanishes into a supernatural blender. It sounds thrilling until someone checks a map and realizes ships sail that exact region constantly without drama. In reality, the so-called triangle covers busy shipping lanes between Florida, Puerto Rico, and Bermuda, where thousands of flights and vessels travel safely every year. There is no mysterious energy field swallowing megaships. Navigation systems rely on advanced GPS and satellite technology, not haunted pirate maps. The only thing disappearing there is the myth itself. 8. The wind tip. Overpanic makes first-time cruisers stare up at an 18-story ship and whisper that one strong breeze could flip it like a lawn chair. It looks top-heavy and suspiciously tall, especially when viewed from the dock. In reality, the heaviest machinery engines, fuel tanks, and stabilizing systems sit deep in the lowest decks, creating an extremely low center of gravity. Naval architects design these ships like massive weighted punching bags that wobble but do not fall. They are engineered to handle hurricane-level forces at sea. A stiff wind is not about to tip over a floating skyscraper. 9. The medieval brig fantasy imagines that breaking a rule on a cruise gets you tossed into a rusty dungeon chained to a wall with dramatic lightning flashing overhead. Some people genuinely picture pirates guarding a candle-lit jail cell below deck. In reality, the ship's brig is simply a secure holding cabin used temporarily for guests who are dangerously intoxicated or causing serious disturbances. It has padded walls, a bed, and constant supervision for safety, not torture. Serious offenses are handed over to proper authorities at the next port. There are no rats, no chains, and absolutely no dramatic medieval soundtrack playing. 10. The Band-Aid doctor myth suggests that if someone has a heart attack at sea, the medical center is basically a glorified first aid station run by someone with a box of stickers. That assumption could not be more outdated. Modern cruise ships carry fully equipped medical facilities with ICU-level beds, defibrillators, ventilators, diagnostic labs, and physicians trained in emergency medicine. Some ships even have surgeons on board for complex procedures. They operate under strict international medical guidelines and coordinate with coastal hospitals if evacuation is required. It is closer to a small urgent care hospital than a summer camp nurse's office. 11. The propeller vortex fear says if someone swims anywhere near a docked cruise ship, they will get sucked straight into the giant spinning blades like a human smoothie. The mental image is dramatic and wildly inaccurate. In reality, when ships are in port, their propulsion systems are either shut down or operating at minimal controlled levels under strict harbor regulations. When the physics of the wake actually pushes water and floating objects away from the hull rather than vacuuming them inward, ports also establish safety perimeters around vessels. The only thing getting pulled toward the ship is passengers racing back before the gangway closes. 12. The toxic tap water myth convinces cruisers to brush their teeth with bottled water like they are surviving an apocalypse at sea. Some refuse to even rinse a toothbrush under the sink faucet because they assume it is pumped straight from salty ocean waves. In reality, cruise ships use advanced desalination systems that distill seawater into highly purified drinking water, often cleaner than many municipal supplies on land. The water is continuously tested under strict health standards. It is not mysterious brine from the deep. It is laboratory-monitored H2O. The only danger is overhydrating after 3 margaritas at sunset. 13. The eating passenger scraps rumor imagines crew members surviving on half-eaten lobster tails and abandoned buffet fries like seagulls in uniform. It paints a picture of luxury upstairs and crumbs downstairs. In reality, cruise lines provide dedicated crew dining areas with full buffets, featuring hot meals, salads, desserts, and dishes inspired by the crew's home countries. Filipino adobo Indian curries, European comfort food, all prepared separately from guest leftovers. Staff nutrition is essential for long contracts and demanding shifts. No one is scraping plates in secret kitchens. The crew eats properly, not like characters in a survival documentary. 14. Fog the Hidden Smooth Button Conspiracy claims the captain refuses to press some magical stabilizer switch because it costs too much fuel, and he enjoys watching passengers wobble dramatically down hallways. This idea gives the bridge way too much cartoon villain energy. In reality, modern ships use advanced stabilizer fins that extend from the hull automatically in rough seas to reduce rolling motion. These systems are almost always deployed when conditions require because comfortable passengers spend more money and leave better reviews. Captains are not hoarding a secret comfort button. They want calm seas as much as everyone holding a plate of shrimp. 15. The lifeboat shortage panic still lives in the shadow of Titanic and convinces some passengers that there are secretly not enough seats for everyone on board. When people scan the decks counting orange boats like they're doing emergency math homework. In reality, international maritime law requires cruise ships to carry lifeboat capacity for at least 125% of all souls on board, including crew. Safety drills are mandatory and equipment is inspected constantly. Modern evacuation systems are engineered with redundancy and regulation. There is no hidden shortage. The only thing overcrowded is the dessert station on formal night. 16. The Somali-style pirates' fear imagines speedboats full of armed bandits racing toward a family cruise ship with grappling hooks and dramatic movie music. While piracy exists in certain regions, it primarily targets low-riding, slow cargo vessels, not towering 18-story cruise ships with surveillance systems and security protocols. These floating resorts travel at higher speeds, maintain constant communication, and avoid high-risk zones entirely. Many routes are patrolled by international naval forces. A cruise ship is a highly visible, hardened target, not an easy prize. Pirates are opportunists, not action movie villains, chasing shuffleboard tournaments. 17. The norovirus. In the Walls myth suggests the ship itself somehow breeds stomach bugs inside its metal structure, like a haunted germ factory waiting for victims. Passengers whisper that once it is on board, it lives forever in the hallways. In reality, norovirus is almost always introduced by infected passengers who fail to wash their hands properly, especially after buffet visits. Cruise lines implement aggressive sanitation protocols, including constant surface disinfection isolation procedures and deep cleaning when cases appear. The virus does not grow in steel, it travels through human behavior. Soap and responsible hygiene defeat it far more effectively than conspiracy theories. 18. The shark garbage trail myth claims tossing a single French fry overboard will summon a synchronized shark swarm that follows the ship like a horror movie parade. It makes the ocean seem like a drive-through for predators waiting for crumbs. In reality, cruise ships travel far too fast for sharks to track consistently, and the minimal organic waste from a stray snack is insignificant in the vast open ocean. Strict environmental policies also regulate what can be discarded at sea. Sharks rely on complex hunting patterns, not random fry detection systems. They are not GPS programmed to chase buffet leftovers. 19. The raw sewage. On the Reef, Fear paints a disgusting picture of cruise ships dumping untreated waste directly onto pristine coral reefs while passengers sip cocktails unaware. That image sticks because it sounds scandalous. In reality, modern ships operate advanced onboard wastewater treatment plants that process sewage through multiple filtration and purification stages until it meets strict international environmental standards before discharge. Many ports also enforce zero discharge zones. These systems cost millions and are heavily regulated. Environmental compliance is not optional public relations fluff. It is mandatory maritime law. The ship is not secretly turning paradise into a septic tank. Zone 20. The mandatory loveboat romance myth suggests crew members are quietly encouraged to flirt and hook up with lonely passengers to boost onboard happiness and bar sales. It sounds like a scripted reality show, but it is pure fiction. Cruise lines enforce strict professional boundaries, and most prohibit crew from entering guest cabins socially under penalty of immediate termination. Violations can end contracts on the spot. Staff are there to work long, demanding shifts, not star in improvised romance plots. Friendly service does not equal secret matchmaking. The only committed relationship on board is between guests and the buffet schedule. 21. The Rigged Bridge Casino's Conspiracy claims that on the final night of the cruise, the captain strolls up to a giant red switch on the bridge and secretly shuts down all slot machine payouts so nobody leaves with extra cash. It sounds dramatic and slightly evil. In reality, onboard casinos operate under strict gaming regulations tied to the ship's flag state and international gaming standards similar to major land-based casinos. Outcomes are controlled by certified random number generators, not a joystick in the captain's office. The bridge focuses on navigation and safety, not blackjack revenge. The house edge is math, not sabotage. 22. The Elevator Ocean. Drop Fear imagines a snapped cable sending the elevator plunging straight through the ship and into the sea like a disaster movie finale. Thus, some passengers hesitate before stepping inside as if gravity is plotting something personal. In reality, cruise ship elevators are built with multiple steel cables and automatic braking systems that lock instantly if tension changes. Even in the impossible event of total failure, the elevator shaft sits entirely within solid steel decks nowhere near open ocean. It cannot punch through the hull. Elevators are engineered redundantly for safety. They move vertically, not toward Atlantis. 23. The murder cover-up rumor suggests cruise lines quietly label suspicious deaths as accidents or suicides and sail away pretending nothing happened. It feeds into the idea of a floating cover story drifting beyond jurisdiction. In reality, any serious incident or unexplained death triggers immediate reporting requirements under international maritime law and often involves federal authorities, including the FBI, for ships touching United States ports. Investigations are documented and subject to oversight. Cruise companies cannot simply erase events from existence. Paperwork alone would sink that fantasy. Transparency is mandatory because the ocean is vast, but accountability is not optional. 24. Yui. The sneezing AC myth claims the air conditioning system sucks up every cough, sneeze, and questionable breath from strangers and pumps it directly into your cabin like a germ delivery service. That mental image makes some people eye the vents suspiciously. In reality, modern cruise ships circulate high percentages of fresh outside air, combined with advanced filtration systems, including HEPA filters designed to capture microscopic particles. Cabins are typically ventilated individually rather than sharing one giant recycled air loop. Air handling systems are engineered for health compliance, not viral roulette. The vents are moving ocean air, not your neighbor's cold. 25. The whale ramming fear imagines an angry Moby Dick-style whale charging at full speed and cracking a cruise ship hull like a battering ram. It is a cinematic scenario that refuses to retire. In reality, modern ships use advanced navigation systems, sonar, and mandatory speed restrictions in known migration zones to minimize the risk of marine mammal collisions. These vessels are enormous steel structures designed to withstand significant impact forces. Whale strikes are extremely rare and actively mitigated by route planning and regulation. The ship is not in a personal feud with marine life. It is carefully monitored traffic. 26. The single-dropped phone cascade myth says if someone drops a phone into the vacuum toilet, the entire plumbing system collapses and the ship erupts in chaos like a domino effect of bad decisions. While losing a phone is tragic, it is not catastrophic for the vessel. Cruise ship plumbing uses industrial-grade vacuum systems designed to handle unexpected debris without disabling the network. Maintenance teams can isolate and clear blockages efficiently. The worst-case scenario is an embarrassed passenger and an expensive replacement device. The ship does not grind to a halt because someone texted too close to the bowl. 27. The Oscar panic code frightens passengers who hear mysterious announcements over the intercom and assume the ship is moments from disaster. Whispered rumors spread faster than facts whenever a code word echoes through the corridors. In reality, coded announcements exist specifically to prevent widespread panic, while trained crew respond quickly and professionally to specific situations. For example, Oscar indicates a man overboard procedure, not an imminent sinking. Using discreet language allows operations to continue calmly without triggering chaos. These codes are part of organized emergency management, not secret signals of doom. Calm response beats dramatic speculation every time. 28. The indefinite wait fantasy convinces some travelers that if they are late returning from an independent shore excursion, the ship will absolutely wait because they paid thousands of dollars, and surely that buys loyalty. Unfortunately, maritime schedules do not run on personal optimism. Cruise ships operate on strict port departure windows, coordinated with harbor authorities and tides. If a passenger misses all aboard time, the ship can and often will depart without them. Travel insurance and punctuality become very important lessons. The vessel is a moving city, not a rideshare driver. It does not circle the block indefinitely. 29. The dead engine sinking myth assumes that if the ship loses power, it immediately drops beneath the waves like a stone because propulsion equals survival. That belief ignores basic physics. Sea ships float due to buoyancy created by water displacement, not because engines are pushing them upward. If power fails, the vessel simply drifts while backup generators and emergency systems activate. Modern cruise ships are designed with redundant power supplies and watertight compartments to maintain stability. A blackout is inconvenient and dramatic, but not a direct ticket to the ocean floor. Floating is about design, not engine noise. 30. The smoke detector camera's paranoia has some passengers convinced that the tiny blinking light on the ceiling hides a secret surveillance lens recording their vacation nap schedule. It feels dramatic until logic arrives. Installing hidden cameras in cabins would be wildly illegal and destroy any cruise line's reputation overnight. True, smoke detectors contain sensors to detect heat and particles from fire, not miniature film crews. Crew members are busy managing thousands of guests and safety protocols. They are not secretly monitoring who ordered room service at midnight. The blinking light is about fire prevention, not reality television auditions. 31. The ignored bedbugs. Myth claims cruise ships quietly ignore infestations because replacing mattresses would cost too much money and admitting a problem would scare guests. That narrative sounds scandalous but ignores operational reality. Cruise lines have strict inspection protocols and dedicated response teams trained to handle any reported pest issue immediately. Cabins can be sealed and treated with high-temperature heat systems specifically designed to eliminate bedbugs at all life stages. The financial and reputational risk of ignoring a problem would be catastrophic. Ships operate like high-end hotels with aggressive sanitation standards. They are not running a floating flea market. 32. The untreated ocean pools myth insists that deck pools are filled by scooping raw seawater straight from the side of the ship like a giant bucket brigade. That idea makes some swimmers hesitate before dipping a toe. In reality, pool water on cruise ships goes through desalination filtration and chlorination processes similar to or stricter than land-based public pools. Water quality is tested daily under international health regulations. It is not direct ocean intake sloshing around with mystery organisms. The pool experience is controlled and sanitized. The only wild thing in there should be your cannonball technique. So 33. The balcony door sinks. The ship fear suggests that leaving your cabin door open somehow breaks the vessel's watertight integrity and invites the ocean inside like you accidentally unplugged a drain. That dramatic scenario misunderstands ship design. Balcony doors are part of the superstructure well above the waterline and have nothing to do with hull integrity. Opening one may temporarily disrupt air conditioning sensors or create pressure imbalances in your corridor, but it will not flood decks. Cruise ships are compartmentalized with sealed watertight sections deep below. Your sliding door controls airflow, not the fate of the vessel. 34. The sinking band legend says musicians are contractually obligated to keep playing cheerful tunes as the ship goes down, like a dramatic historical reenactment. It makes for powerful storytelling, but it is not policy. Modern crew members, including entertainers, have clearly assigned emergency roles and must report to designated safety stations during drills or real incidents. Passenger evacuation procedures are structured and coordinated, not improvised concerts. Safety training is mandatory across departments regardless of job title. No one is required to provide a soundtrack to disaster. The priority is orderly response, not cinematic nostalgia. 35. The thrown overboard luggage myth imagines crew secretly tossing heavy suitcases into the sea to lighten the ship when weight limits are exceeded. It sounds ruthless and slightly cartoonish. In reality, cruise ship weight management focuses on structural balance, fuel efficiency, and safe cargo handling, not dramatic mid-ocean decluttering. Passenger luggage limits exist primarily to protect dock workers and crew who physically lift and transport bags during embarkation. Ships are engineered to carry thousands of tons safely. A few extra suitcases will not tip the scales. Your bag is far more likely to arrive at your cabin than swim to another continent. 36. The upside-down flip fear pictures a rogue wave perfectly capsizing a massive cruise ship into a complete 180-degree rollover like a toy in a bathtub. That scenario ignores basic naval architecture. Modern cruise ships are designed with extremely low centers of gravity and broad hulls that create significant righting moments, resisting extreme roll angles. Even in severe storms, vessels are engineered to recover stability rather than invert. Weather routing systems also help captains avoid dangerous sea states whenever possible. Physics is firmly on the ship's side. A full upside-down flip is practically impossible outside of imagination. 37. The passport hostage situation myth claims cruise lines keep passenger passports to trap them into forced labor if they refuse to pay onboard charges. That dramatic storyline belongs in fiction. In reality, passports may be temporarily collected on certain itineraries to streamline group customs processing at specific ports under legal guidelines. They are securely stored and returned according to documented procedures. Financial disputes are handled through normal billing processes, not maritime kidnapping. No cruise line is turning unpaid bar tabs into indentured servitude. And the only thing being processed is paperwork, not people. 38. The permanent seasickness fear convinces first-time cruisers that nausea will dominate every moment of a 7-day voyage, leaving them clinging to railings in misery. While motion sickness can occur, especially in rough seas, most passengers adapt quickly as the inner ear recalibrates to consistent movement. This adjustment often happens within 12 to 24 hours and is commonly called getting sea legs. Modern ships also use stabilizer systems to minimize rolling. Over-the-counter remedies and preventive measures further reduce discomfort. For most travelers, the queasy phase is temporary, not a week-long punishment. 39. Fire the jellyfish. In the waterslide, panic imagines a rogue jellyfish being sucked through an intake pipe and launched down the slide like a stinging torpedo. It is vivid and wildly unrealistic. Cruise ship water systems use heavily filtered intake mechanisms with protective grates designed to block debris and marine life from entering circulation systems. Water used in recreational features is treated and sanitized before reaching passengers. There is no direct ocean highway connecting sea creatures to your splash landing. The only surprise at the bottom of the slide should be cold water, not marine biology. 40. The trained thief seagulls myth suggests cruise lines secretly train birds to snatch fries and snacks from passengers so they will buy more food. It gives corporate strategy an absurd wildlife division. In reality, seagulls and other coastal birds are opportunistic scavengers drawn naturally to busy ports and open food. They require no secret training program to recognize an unattended plate of nachos. Cruise lines often warn guests not to feed wildlife precisely to discourage aggressive behavior. The birds are freelancing experts in snack theft. They are not on payroll or earning commission. 41. The captain's escape pod myth imagines a secret luxury submarine hidden somewhere on the ship, reserved exclusively for the captain to make a dramatic underwater getaway while everyone else lines up for lifeboats. It sounds like a villain exit strategy from an action movie. In reality, maritime law and long-standing naval tradition require the captain to remain responsible for the vessel and passengers during emergencies, and often being the last to leave in a controlled evacuation. There is no hidden mini-submarine with leather seats and snacks. The bridge is about coordination and accountability, not plotting a cinematic solo escape beneath the waves. 42. The 80-year-old age limit. Myth suggests cruises are legally reserved for retirees playing shuffleboard, while younger travelers are somehow breaking an unspoken rule by boarding. That stereotype lingers from decades ago when cruising leaned heavily toward older demographics. In reality, modern cruise ships feature surf simulators, skydiving, wind tunnels, zip lines, esports lounges, and nightlife designed to attract millennials and Gen Z travelers in large numbers. Families, couples, and friend groups dominate many itineraries. The average passenger age has steadily diversified, and cruises are floating entertainment complexes, not retirement homes with buffets and ocean views. 43. The shattering balcony glass myth claims that one aggressive wave or strong gust of wind will explode your cabin's sliding door into 1,000 dangerous shards. That fear makes some guests treat the balcony like a fragile museum exhibit. In reality, cruise ships use marine-grade tempered safety glass engineered to withstand hurricane-force winds, pressure changes, and heavy impacts. These panels are tested under strict international standards before installation. They are designed to crack safely rather than shatter explosively if extreme force ever occurs. Your balcony door is built tougher than most house windows. It is not one wave away from disaster. 44. The cartel kidnappings. At Port Fear convinces some travelers that stepping off the ship in certain destinations guarantees immediate abduction by organized crime. While crime exists in parts of the world, standard cruise ports are heavily secured tourist zones monitored by local authorities and port security teams. Cruise lines carefully select and evaluate destinations based on safety metrics and international advisories. Millions of passengers disembark each year without incident. Common sense precautions apply just like in any major city, but the dock is not a cinematic trap. It is a regulated entry point designed for tourism, not chaos. 45. The death comp rumor suggests that if someone passes away in a nearby cabin, the cruise line hands out free future vacations as compensation for emotional trauma. That idea spreads quickly because it sounds like dark irony mixed with wishful thinking. In reality, cruise lines handle such situations discreetly and professionally, offering condolences and support where appropriate, but they do not distribute complimentary cruises as automatic compensation. Policies focus on privacy, legal compliance, and respectful procedures. Tragedies are managed with seriousness, not promotional vouchers. A free vacation is not standard protocol for unfortunate proximity to an event. 46. The anchor drag panic imagines that if a cruise ship drops anchor in water that is too deep, the massive chain will somehow pull the entire vessel straight down, like a cartoon weight tied to a balloon. That dramatic visual ignores mechanical safeguards. Anchoring systems are engineered with calculated chain lengths and load tolerances. If maximum scope is reached under extreme strain, built-in release mechanisms prevent catastrophic force transfer to the hull. Additionally, ships often rely on dynamic positioning systems and thrusters rather than anchors in very deep water. The anchor stabilizes position. It does not function as a self-sinking device. 47. The Wi-Fi blackout zone myth insists that once a ship sails far from shore, satellites somehow lose sight of it, leaving passengers completely cut off from the digital world. That may have been partly true years ago, but modern cruise ships now use advanced satellite arrays, including low Earth orbit networks, that deliver significantly faster and more stable connections at sea. Bandwidth can still vary depending on weather and demand, but total communication darkness is no longer the norm. You are unlikely to disappear from the internet. Your group chat will survive the voyage just fine. 48. The walking the plank. Fear has some passengers half-jokingly asking whether the captain can physically force a rule breaker to step off the edge of the ship like an old pirate movie punishment. That image belongs to fictional, swashbuckling lore, not regulated maritime operations. In reality, serious misconduct is handled through security procedures and reported to authorities at the next port of call. Detainment occurs in secure holding areas if necessary, followed by transfer to local law enforcement. There are no wooden planks extending over shark-filled waters. Consequences involve paperwork and police, and not dramatic sea theatrics. 49. The wooden pirate wheel expectation leads some guests to imagine the bridge featuring a giant spinning wooden helm straight out of a museum, with the captain dramatically steering through storms by hand. In reality, modern cruise ships are controlled using advanced navigation consoles with compact steering controls, electronic thrusters, touchscreen displays, and integrated GPS systems. The bridge resembles a high-tech command center more than a pirate deck. Precision maneuvering in ports often involves joystick-style controls and automated assistance systems. The era of wrestling a massive wooden wheel against the wind is long gone. So there you have it. 49 cruise ship myths officially tossed overboard and replaced with actual facts. Turns out the ocean is not plotting against your balcony door, the captain is not hiding a submarine, and the ice cream machine is not a secret morgue alarm. If you laughed, learned something, or finally stopped side-eyeing the railing, hit like, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you do not miss the next BrainFumble deep dive. Share this with that friend who swears the Bermuda Triangle is hungry. Now be honest, which cruise myth had you secretly stressed before today?